Here. Okay, so tonight is Wednesday, May 13th, and we have a guest speaker, Lee Lawhorne, and his wife as well. Mindy is on the line. And you know, I met Lee last year personally at Smart Success. I've followed Lee for quite some time. Very inspired and very impressed about how him and Mindy run their business together and the power couple that they are. And, I strive to run our business or help and find my spot in the business and do something very similar, because what they have seems to work great. And I think my mindset is, if you want to be like somebody, you got to do what they've done. So I reached out to Lee at Smart Success last year to kind of learn a little bit about how he fits in with his and Mindy's business. And, I've really thought how I could portray this or project this for our business and our team. And then I thought, well, who better than to explain this than Lee himself? So I reached out to Lee and asked him, and Lee said, sure, I'll do it. I'd be glad to. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Lee and let him share with you his story.
Well, first of all, thank you, Dan and Kelsey, very much for having me. It's always awesome to get to talk to new groups like this about how Mindy and I have put this thing together, so to speak. It's been a little unorthodox. What has worked for us might not work for everyone. But the point I want to get across, and perfect example just now, Kelsey's IT, you're not. That's your strong suit. It's not yours. You work together to get it done. You apply that to everything in this business. There's a lot of things that, Mindy. I can't be Mindy. I don't know anybody who could be Mindy. She likes to be under the lights and doing all this stuff and dancing and things that wouldn't be considered my strong suit. But there are things that Mindy's strong at, obviously I'm not strong at, and things I'm strong at that Mindy's not strong at. And, I could really shorten this whole thing and just say, hey, do what you're strong at. And when you do that with the other person who's not, the whole thing comes, you're covering all your bases, things that she doesn't do well, I do well. I'm the IT guy here. Mindy's a computer killer. She destroys any computer she touches. I was on that thing for 2 hours today. Disk utilities, I had things going on left and right. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was happening. I just told her to stay away from it until I was done. So it's breathing again. But to give you a little background, I know most of you probably know who Chalene Johnson is, I would assume. Well, when I met Mindy, that's when she laid on me that she was in the Turbo Jam video. I didn't know Turbo Jam. I didn't know Chalene. But over time, I got to know Chalene and Brett really well. What I'm getting to is Brett and Chalene are really, really smart business people. They dig into things before they make a move in any direction. Chalene came to us and said, hey, Beachbody is a legit deal. You hear MLM, and every guy in the room, including me, goes, oh, geez, it's an MLM. The only thing that kind of flipped it for me, aside from Chalene and Brett recommending it, which was huge, was that it was all fitness. It was all nutrition. So when Mindy came to me and told me that Chalene recommended this and asked if she could do it, it didn't take much thought. Of course, it would make her happy, and I wanted her to be happy. And I saw the amount of money it would take to put into it and to invest. And she would spend that in Target every time she walks in the door. And we would spend the rest of it going to GNC buying the nutritional products that we could get from Beachbody anyway. So it made sense. It was something we were already passionate about, which was fitness and nutrition. We had both been doing that a long time, Mindy with her classes. I'd been a workout freak and an athlete, so it was very important to me. So, I gave her the green light on that. things kind of went slow for a while. We made some bad decisions, or I made a bad decision. We didn't pray about enough things. I lost my job. I kind of knee-jerked when she was offered one and strongly suggested that she take it until I could get one. That ended up backfiring on me. It made Mindy very unhappy, which, I think I knew in my heart that it was not what she wanted to do, but we knee-jerked. We were both scared. If you've ever been laid off, that's a scary feeling. Comes out of nowhere, and you've got a very short period of time to figure out what to do, especially if you've got a family to take care of. So went with that a while, and finally she came to me one day, and she just said, man, this is not good. I don't like this. And I just looked at her. I said, quit. God will provide. It'll be fine. Exactly, I think 2 weeks after that, she may be able to correct me, but I think it was 2 weeks after that, I was hired on full-time at UT Southwestern Medical Center. And Mindy was able to take up Beachbody again because the job she took, it would have been in direct conflict with what she was doing to work Beachbody at the same time. So we essentially took a year off of this. Wish we could have that year back, but it's all part of God's plan, and that's where we ended up. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about this business, so obviously I went to work, worried about benefits, things like that, and Mindy started working this business little by little. And there came a day when I was walking out the door to go to work. I had a 45-minute trip to Dallas every day. It was tough to get back from my kids' practices, games, whatever they had going on, which just really annoyed me. And just as I was walking out the door, she said, I paid the mortgage this week. What? So I turned back and said, you did what? So we made enough money to pay the mortgage. I said, keep up the good work, honey. You're doing great. Awesome. So on your notes you gave me, Dean, you said on here tipping point. Well, that's the moment I realized how legitimate this was, is paying a mortgage with a business that I wasn't even paying any attention to, that I had nothing to do with. It was just Mindy doing her thing at home. And in, I think this was under 2 years, she was able to do this. Now, say that again, honey? That was 1 week. That was 1 week's pay. Oh, she wants me to say that was 1 week's worth of pay. Paid the mortgage. Got it, honey. Thanks.
Welcome.
So that was kind of my tipping point to realize how legitimate this was. You can't get a guy's attention quicker than if you say you can pay the bills with this business. Okay.
Or if you do it naked. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
The secret's out. They've now cracked the code. You need to go away. So that was my tipping point. So at that point, a little while more into this business, we started talking about the possibility of me going part-time at work, which was also scary for me. I don't know how many people know. Dean probably knows, but before I met Mindy, there's no cure for the cancer I have, but it's very manageable. The only problem with it is it's expensive to manage it, and obviously you need to have good benefits. Well, it just so happened that God allowed me to get a job at UT Southwestern Medical Center with a major cancer center. So not only did my benefits or my insurance pay 80%, the hospital threw in the rest of it. So I paid nothing. Now I'm talking, I've had chemo probably 5 times. A chemo round is probably 6 weeks. So I've done that about 5 times. Every time you do that, it's about $1 million. So you do 80% of that, that still leaves 20%. Do the math. That's a large worry. When you got 20% of $1 million, but the hospital kicks in the rest of it. So that was a big load on me. It was something I really had to worry about. I'd love to go part-time. I'd love to do all this, but there is no way I can mess with my benefits. So we talked about it, and I talked with work about it, and I was able to work it out. So if I worked over, I think it was 24 hours, worked 3 days a week, I was able to keep full benefits. So I'm kind of sticking my toe in the water, and we went there. So I was working 3 days a week at work, and the other 2 days I was starting to talk with Mindy about how we could integrate me into this business, how I could help her make her job easier. Because there's a lot to this. It's a real job. You're not just home lying on the couch, typing on the computer, hoping people will sign up with you. It is a job. However, you compare it to another job, you can knock out what you need to do at home in 4 hours, spend the rest of the day with your family. To me, that's worth a lot right there. So we went like this for a while, and pretty soon the retirement talk started coming up. Now you're back to the benefits, back to my health. So I had to do a lot of research, figure out what it would cost us as a corporation, which was helpful. Obviously, you need to be incorporated to do this. And we could get corporate health insurance. So it's a lot cheaper. It's not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper. And what we figured was it was manageable. So August of what, honey? August of what? Now she's no help. That's false. 2013. Thank you, dear. I retired and became a full-time Beachbody coach, or Mindy's full-time Cabana boy Beachbody kind of coach thing. So here's the thing. Now, if you hold up this, now, let's just say this is my man card, okay? I want to hold on to my man card, even though my wife surpassed my salary within 2 years. I made a good salary, and she smoked it. So how do I hold on to this and be helpful around here and help my wife? So what we did is, as a husband and wife team, it was always our business. That was never a question. Whoever's married on here, if one person is working, it's still your business. You're still a couple. It is your business. It's a man's sacred duty, as far as I'm concerned, to support his wife, period. I don't care. I understand finances. There are things you can work around and compromises you can make, and we made them. Don't spend as much as Target. Don't buy all this hair stuff that I don't understand still to this day what it does. I have no clue. But, whatever I could do is what I was going to do. And it started with me, Monday night calls. I would put the kids to bed or give them a bath or do whatever it was that she would normally do, the time she would spend with her. I'm still holding on to this. I'm still the head of my family, but I'm making my children take a bath and get in bed on top of that. So it started like that. And one of the things I would recommend for, most of you are women running this business right now, and your husband's trying to either figure out what you're doing, why you're doing it, or hopefully they're trying to figure out how they can help you with it. Now, even though it is it's your business, he needs to feel ownership. And one of the things I did, and she started talking to me about social media and making my presence known on there, what I do with her and for her and how I help her. And, it could be simply me just doing an exercise in the gym. I take a picture and make a post of it. But one of the little things I did is, I hope you guys have heard of Elance. They're awesome. I would highly recommend using them. But I used Elance to make a logo for me. And here, let me see if you guys can see this. This is my logo. There it is. Fantastic. Love the logo. Cost me $25. Okay. But one thing that the women out there are going to learn is it's easier for us men to talk to the men than it is for the women to talk to the men. It's easier for the women to talk to the women than it is for the men to talk to the women. It's just the way it is. I tell this story every time. When we first started this, we had this great meeting at our old house. She had this fabulous presentation all made up. She PowerPointed, gave a speech. I was out in the garage working out. I had nothing to do with it. I helped her set up the computer. She went through this whole thing and she said, okay, who's in? And nobody said anything. And I had just happened to walk into the kitchen at that time, which kind of sat up above the living room. So I peeked in the door and I said, guys, listen to me. I was a skeptic just like you. It's legit. I've seen it. It works. I can show you the paychecks. To a man, every man in that room turned to his wife and said, okay, let's do it. That makes no sense. But it's how we're wired. I don't know why. The guys didn't trust her as far as, of course, they like looking at her, but as far as listening to her, apparently not. So all I did was give a 15-second spiel on 15 seconds. That's why I stuck my head in the room, literally stuck my head around the door, said this, and walked out. Everybody signed up that night. It makes no sense. It's wrong, but that's where your husband can help. If you give him an identity, if he wants an identity, get him a logo. Our brand is LML Fit Life, the big brand. She has her own brand, and I have my own brand under that. And that's how we operate. A lot of the time, the guys will come to me, and I can talk to them all day about workouts, what workouts are like, Body Beast, P90X, whatever they need to know. But when it comes to the real business side of this and how they need to get signed up and all of the real ins and outs of that, I'm going to send them to Mindy. If someone comes to Mindy talking about Body Beast or P90X or anything like, guess what? She's going to send them to me, and I'm going to send them back. I know I'm not an idiot, but I also know what her strengths are. She knows what my strengths are. So I'm sending them where I know she's strong at, and she's sending them where she knows I'm strong at. That's what I said before. So I'm assuming women out here on this call are struggling with their husbands, maybe trying to figure out how to help. And that's one of the best ways to start. It doesn't have to be a huge start. You don't need to have them talking to coaches and trying to sign people up left and right. But you can have them start posting about the business, just getting their name out there, getting some recognition, and that will help. It's going to help her quite a bit just knowing you're there and that you're involved. So I would highly recommend that. And I like this here. He gave me a note. He said, use your firm voice because the guys really need to hear it. Well, my voice isn't very firm right now, but I'm going to go back. It's your sacred duty to support your wife, no matter what it takes, okay? I'm not telling you to go broke. If you don't understand what she's doing, get in there involved and try to figure it out with her. Help her out. There are so many things you can do to help her out. Like I said, I'm the IT guy. I'm the travel agent. I've never booked so many flights in my entire life, and none of them are for me. What is happening here? So she's flying all over the place and doing these things, but it's just part of the way I can help her. If she had to do her own flights, if she had to worry about IT stuff, get on the phone with Apple, you know how much time that would take away from her, where she could be making this family even better, more money. And it's not about the money. I'm going to tell you the bottom line. When we talked about getting into this and we realized how many people we could reach, with us, our preference for this business was it allowed us to witness to people. It was right there for us. We could talk to people, could attract like-minded people. They could see what we stood for. You know, if they didn't like us, that's fine. That's okay. If they did, welcome aboard. But that's just part of the deal. And then we're able to witness to all these people. We're able to stay healthy. We get discounts on these products. I mean, I was using Shakeology while I was on chemo. It was extremely helpful. And even my oncologist said, this is great stuff. You should, it's giving you everything you need. And you can't do any more than this. All that, and you get to make money. Okay? It's like I said before, we've been in the Millionaires Club twice with this business. We're no different than anyone else. We are zero different than anyone else. We just got together, we figured out what we were strong at, and we applied it. That's it. There's no secret formula. There's no this, that, or the other. And one thing I will say is Dean recognized that we had already traveled this path. And the best thing I can tell you is get behind people that have already traveled the path. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can find out. Mindy will give you anything. Mindy will give you anything. You can listen to any of her calls. You can have any of her materials, things we've written up ourselves, our own things. So it's out there. It's out there waiting for you, the guys just as much as the girls. So I don't know if I could recommend anything else other than get with someone has been there, has traveled it, And that's what Dean's trying to do for you guys. That's why he's having me on here. We've been down this path. So men, get involved. Turn to your wife, look at her, say, I want to help. I understand it's going to take some small steps. Dip your toe in the water, social media, helping her with emails, with the kids, with whatever it takes to give her the time to do what she's strong at and for you to start learning this business. There's no reason that you two can't coach equally. Like I said before, I can't do what Mindy does. There's just no way. I can't. I understand that, and that's just the way it is, but we found what works for us. May not be what works for you, but it works for us. There's a combination that will work for you. For women, be patient. I know it's aggravating. We are pigs. We're hard-headed. We don't want to listen to anything you guys say 90% of the time. But once again, be patient. Give them some ownership in this, and it will take you where you want to go. Be patient all the way around. Dean, I could keep talking for another 30 minutes if you wanted me to. So you can tell me to shut it. Does anybody have any questions? Which would be good. I don't know how you guys usually handle that. If someone has a question they'd like to ask.
Lee, I could let you keep talking all week and I would listen, but I would probably lose my day job. But I think if anybody wants to come out of the cave and ask Lee a question, it might be a good time. Me personally, what I struggled with in the beginning was, like you said, was the whole MLM thing. And my natural reaction as a husband was, no way. I'm going to do my job as a husband and protect you from any sort of scam. Can anybody hear me?
I'm getting a little bit of lag, buddy. And I heard you just now. I heard something about as a husband, and then you went away.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I got you now.
Okay, I think we had some spotty connection there. But my natural reaction when Kelsey brought this to me was, no way. It's my job as a husband to protect you from these multi-level marketing scams. I'm not going to have a Christmas party in my living room every Friday night for you to put this product on a shelf and bring all these people in and expose my kids. Like, it's just not me. Like, I guess, what would you say to the men who have this feeling? Because I know you felt that way too. Would you say the best way is just to sit back and watch and let it be known that that's not what this is? Because that's what I experience now, that I'm fully engaged in it, and I realize that, but I have a hard time projecting that to the other men.
Well, I mean, number one, I'll be the first to say that MLMs have a bad rap, but I honestly really didn't know anything about them. I mean, all I ever heard was Amway and people shoveling toothpaste and stocking their pantries with soap and stuff. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? But that's all I knew. And the problem is most of us are the same way. We don't know anything about MLMs. All we think is it's some kind of scheme and this, that, and the other. And it's not the case. There are legitimate MLMs. And honestly, MLMs make people a lot of money. And they make it legitimately with real products. It's just about being an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship scares a lot of people. First, they think it's a ton of work. Guess what? It can be. However, that work comes in the first 3 or 4 years. And if you're willing to put it in, it gets easier and easier as it goes along. There are some men you're not going to convince. And what I want you not to do is beat your head against a wall, working on one person, trying to convince them that this is what you know it is. And sometimes you're just not going to reach a person. we had a horrible habit of that for a long time, of spending a lot of time on one person who just didn't get it. And it drove us crazy that we could not convey to them, hey, I mean, what am I going to have to do? Bring you over to my house and show you what we've been able to do here? I mean, but it's just, you can't do that with everything. But as far as this goes, and like I said, it goes back to everything. Who doesn't want to look better? Who doesn't want to feel better? And who doesn't want to make money? And you take the money out. Who doesn't want to look better? Who doesn't want to feel better? I've never met anybody say, hey, do you want to look better and feel better? No. I've never heard that. I've never got that answer. And that's the bottom line. And this is what you're doing. Okay, go to GNC, spend your money on whatever you want, or spend it on what I consider to be better products and the possibility of making money at that. Or at the very least, it's your Costco card and you get a discount on it. And there you go. Don't beat yourself up over it, because you're going to run into some that are just, you can't do it. Some men are very comfortable with letting their women run off like this with a business. They just are. I don't know why that is, but that would take a psychologist, and I don't have the time.
Yeah. Well, I think that helps me out a lot. And, sometimes I do get wrapped into one person because I'm like, oh, why can't you see what I see? Like, this isn't what you think. That was me 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah. And the problem is you see so much potential in that one person. Mm-hmm. We've been on the phone before with someone, and man, they're pumped, they're excited, and they know what they've already done some work. And man, we're like, wow, we're not even going to have to carry this person along. And the next thing you know, they've gone backwards and you don't understand what happened. And you end up realizing that what their expectation is that you're going to carry them along this whole path. Right. And you can't do it. This is a real business. When someone signs, you're signing up to run your own business. That's what people don't understand. You're signing up to run your own business, your own company. And that's what we've done. I've got to have CPAs and all this other crazy stuff going on because of this little company we started. And people just don't realize it doesn't have to be brick and mortar to be real. I mean, this is about as real as it's gotten. And I'll take this over brick and mortar any day.
Yes.
Stress level is way down.
Yes.
If it's your dream to have a brick and mortar, hey, chase it. I'm all for you. I'll be your biggest proponent. Go. This business may even be able to help you do that. If that's the case, so be it. But with this business, I'm able to stay home with my kids. I'm able to coach a baseball team. I'm able to coach my other son and do all these things that I want to do because, I had cancer, and that's a scary thing. I don't know how long it's going to last, but by God, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I'm here as long as I can be. And this has provided me with the most ridiculous opportunity. And, if nothing else, I can tell someone, hey, man, I gave up, health benefits for this. That's how much I thought of this. Feel free to use me. Feel free to use other people as examples. People have made huge decisions here to get into this business once they realized it was legit, and it is legit. Mm-hmm. I dare someone to say, okay, I know I could end up spending, so much on healthcare, but, I just want to take a chance. Well, it was more than that. And, we put in the work and we benefited from it. So that's all I could tell you to tell somebody. Like I said, don't beat yourself up over not being able to convince everybody. It's the same rule. For every 10 people you talk to, one person's going to want to do it. So you've got to have a thick skin in this business. It's just the way it is. And that's why you have to put all the hard work in those first 3 or 4 years, is because you've got to talk to 100 people a week. 100 people a week. That many people are going to say no. And you got to say, okay, but you know what? Those people who are following you on social media are some of those people who originally said no. And guess what happens? You're down the line, they see how well you're doing, and they're like, I may have made a boo-boo. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Next thing I know, we're hearing from these people saying, we're ready to go. We want to do this. And so even if they say no, Doesn't really mean no, just means no right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean no later. So consider that.
Yeah. Well, and it's good to hear that from you, knowing that you guys had that struggle as well. Looks like
don't get confused. We still have that struggle.
Right.
10 people we talk to, only one will say, okay. I'm talking about us still. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to hear. We just got the notification that we've got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to challenge someone on the call to ask you a question. And hold on, I'm going to unmute the lines here. So how do I do this, Kelsey?
Go, IT manager.
Oh, there we go. Okay, everybody, everybody's free to someone ask Lee a question.
Actually, that's me. There's a lot of stuff.
Everybody's scared.
Yes, I'll ask a question. This is Aina. My wife is Michelle. How do you convince that person that says, yeah, I want to try it, I've heard good things about it, I'm ready to go, and then nothing? And then the next day you talk to them, oh, yeah, I'm ready to go, I want to do it, and then nothing again. Because you can't get them on board even though they've said, yeah, I want to do it.
You go back to that person, say, hey, I'm willing to work with you any way I can, but for right now, I think it's best that you don't do this until you are legitimately ready. And if you are ready, we'll give you a couple months. If you want to talk to me in a couple months, then we'll do it. But I just don't think you're ready for this. You'd be surprised what that does, what kind of psychology that has. If someone's done that twice to me, that's exactly what I'm going to tell them. I say, I don't think you're cut out for this, right? Or maybe you're just not ready for this. But, you let me know in a couple months if this and you seriously want to do this, then we'll talk again. But other than that, for right now, I just don't think you're ready. I think you need to do more research or do whatever it is you need to do. Do not waste any more time with that person. That's time you could be spending with someone else who may legitimately want to sign up. One of those 10 people you need to talk to.
It's a husband wrong. This husband and wife team has hit Millionaires Club twice. And the husband is like, he's a believer too. Well, both of them believe he had cancer. And he's running the call. His wife is chiming here and there. But he's pretty much saying, how husbands, you need to be involved with this.
Does she know she's on?
Probably not. I'm getting a running commentary. I enjoyed it.
I love that.
You better mute it.
I know. Maybe we should mute. Someone would be cussing us or something.
Babe, this is stuff that I'm telling you that.
I have a question if we still have time.
I'm saying you should be involved.
3 minutes.
We need to mute everybody.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Ask your question.
Yeah. Did you own your own business before doing Beachbody, or how did you even know when to get it?
So was that question okay, I heard the question is, did we own our own business before Beachbody, and how did we know to get in? Did I get that right?
Well, how did you know what to do once your business grew? Like when to get an accountant, just how to run a business?
How did you learn to run?
Okay. Well, one of the first things, if you wanted to give your husband something to do, or vice versa, whoever's the coach here, or if you're both coaches, the first thing you need to do is find a CPA in this business. Because one thing I'm going to tell you, if you're legit about running this business, the first thing that you're going to run into is 2 years in, we didn't have a CPA. Well, that switch went off and more money came in than we knew how to handle estimated taxes. We had never talked with anyone, but because we had never owned our own business before. So my recommendation is to immediately incorporate yourself. You can use that it can be used for anything you decide on down the road, but get incorporated. Make sure you have a good tax person, because this is 1099. You're not taxed on it. You got to handle it. And learn from someone who screwed this up, because we didn't realize how this was going to go. I mean, it went beyond our wildest dreams, and it did it like that. And so we were like, whoops, and we have less than a minute, but do that stuff in the beginning. Do it in the beginning. It doesn't cost much to get incorporated at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hey, and Leslie, your best friend is Google.
Okay.
Google and follow the people that have done it before you. Because remember, we set off a year. So I just followed all the people that were a year ahead of me.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your evening to do this for us.
Thank you.
Oh, anytime, man. I enjoyed it.
Two of the most humble people you'll ever meet. I was scared to death to come talk to you. Man, I felt like a wiener in a steakhouse. But as you can see, the most humble couple you'll ever meet. Don't be learn my lesson, and don't be afraid to ask questions. These people that have been there, done that, will help. Will do what they can to help you.
Absolutely. You guys let us know if we can help with anything else.
We appreciate it very much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.